Hello, everyone. I'm here yet again for this week's author chat. And bear with me as normal as I'm waiting for my co host to join. Let's see. Here we go. Getting better at this. Hello, hello. Welcome. Let's see if she sees it's her first live. There we go. She can figure out how to. Hello!
Hi.
How are you?
Knackered, but
Oh no.
we will persevere. I am literally due on my period. I think potentially in the next 24 hours, but I'm not actually officially due on it until the 4th.
Oh, well, that is.
I have endometriosis,
Mm-hmm.
so it's never know what's going on with it, and it's just one of those things, and I just have to kind of make do.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
sorry, but I
honestly,
can understand.
yeah, um, it's one of those things. I don't have any control in it. I'm waiting for the NHS to actually do something useful, and when they do, I'll probably drop down of shock. Because
Um, well,
that's
hopefully they
basically
do.
what. Yeah, I've been on the waiting list since 2017, so don't hold your breath.
Wow, that's a
Yeah, they
that's a
are.
long time.
They are. I mean, are you in the UK?
I am actually in Georgia, the state, in the United States. So,
Okay, so we have the NHS in the UK, which is basically our health service. The healthcare is free, but it's an absolute S show of a shambles. So
I
it's,
gotcha. Yeah, no, my sister actually lived in Oxford for a couple years when she was getting a degree
Mhm.
there. So, yeah, I know the healthcare is very different between our countries.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that say, oh, you should be grateful it's free, but literally when you need treatment, you can't get it. So I'm not really a fan.
I can understand.
I am one of those people. I will not sugarcoat something. If something is not up to par, I will say it. So,
I
you
respect
know,
that. Well,
yeah.
outside of all that, how is your day? It's our first time actually meeting virtually, so it's exciting.
Mm, yeah.
So, what I'd
I
like to,
am the,
oh, sorry.
I am the author of 16 books to date.
Wow.
Um, I've been sprinting. I started sprinting about 11 o'clock this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and got down. I finished about 2 o'clock, and I got down about 2,317 words,
Wow.
which I'm pretty impressed because I basically have a Discord writing sprint group,
I noticed that.
and
I
what
was
we
actually looking
do,
at all your stuff to see what you do, and I did
yeah,
note that.
yeah,
I was interested about how you do writing sprints on Discord.
yeah, because it's basically a bot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go into the Discord server, you go into the sprint room, you set up the sprint. So you basically type um, the hyphen and then sprint, and then it asks you for your starting word count. You type that down. Obviously, you don't have to do it for 15 minutes. You can do it for 20 minutes if you want. You can do it for half an hour, whatever works for, for you. And then you write for the 15 minutes, not stopping, not editing, not getting distracted by anything,
That's hard, though.
right? I have 4 cats, so yeah, yeah. But I manage. I usually have some background noise, so I might put something on YouTube. For example, I was listening to the Return to Oz soundtrack this morning. So
Fantastic.
I'm so so basically if the cats are fighting or making any noise, I won't hear them, and I'll just basically tell them to shut up, basically.
Yep.
And I'll deal with them after. And then once the 15 minutes are done, you submit your word count that you've ended up at, and it tells you how many words you've done for that 15 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
So for example, because I knew I had to do the litter tray today with 4 cats, I do not get away with doing this more than every other day. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And I thought, right, okay, so I did 2 sprints back to back for 15 minutes. And then I thought, okay, I've had a little bit of a break. Now I may as well get the litter tray done, do some light cleaning. So, for example, I changed the sofa bedding and I stuck that in the washing machine and I put a load of washing on and, you know, basically did the hoovering and stuff. And then I came back. It was about 12:40 and then I had some food and then I thought, okay, I'll go back to the sprinting now. So you can work it around your day.
That is very nice. That is definitely very nice.
Yeah, so it's basically all about kind of, you know, if you have a busy lifestyle. I mean, I'm basically at home all the time, but my lifestyle is still pretty hectic. So I have to kind of, you know, work all these things around because, like I said, you know, with 4 cats, I have to do that litter tray.
Yeah. Now, do you consider yourself, do you consider yourself a full-time writer, or do you have another job on the side that you're juggling around?
Writing is not my full-time income. Okay. I'm not gonna disclose what my full-time income is because it's, you know, it's between me and the bank manager. But I have other areas going on, and I basically am free to pursue writing full-time. But I also know that it's common sense not to have writing as your only income because you need a backup plan.
Yeah, it all depends on the person, but yeah, it's hard to be a full-time writer. So a lot of people do split and juggle. Like for me, I'm an artist on the side as well.
I have the freedom to pursue my writing and also, you know, make sure that I'm paying the bills as well. So I'm more somebody that is practical because I see a lot of authors going into this thinking that their first book is going to be a bestseller, and sometimes it doesn't always work like that.
Nope. More often than not, no. But
it's always good to have a backup plan.
Yes, always. So since it's your first live, so what happens is I think both our groups of viewers chime in, and you could be getting some people that randomly follow, and we'll jump in and out. So what I like to do is make sure you explain a little bit about your work, your books, tell it, you know, so my viewers can now learn about you, and then vice versa. So tell me about your book.
Right, so I have one complete dark fantasy paranormal suspense series called the Dark Spell series. And basically that's witches, warlocks, angels and demons. I do have a strong focus on villain point of view.
I like that.
So the outline of the story to kind of kick it all off is Isra has shunned the light for the dark. However, it's not that clear cut. The light want her back.
Okay, yeah.
And, you know, we're not going to find out the extent of the light's involvement until around book 2, 3. This is a complete series, obviously. So it spans across 8 books. I started it in 2013 and I literally finished it November last year. So it did take me a long time to complete because of my chronic pain issues and stuff, but I have finally got it done and I'm really happy that it's done. And, you know, in book 1, we're just kind of getting to know Isra. We know there's a big event in book 1 that made her go dark. We don't know what that event is yet. And it's basically setting the scene because she's cloaked the human world from seeing her. And it turns out there's a human that can still see her.
Interesting.
And the really interesting thing about this is he knows exactly what she is. He doesn't care what she is. And he actually wants to seek her for his own gain. Basically, he wants her to cast a spell to make women fall over themselves for him, right?
Of
He's
course.
a little bit of a, he's a little bit of a player, probably not very nice to women. And so our main character, Isra, actually decides, do you know what? You're not going to get what you want. I'm going to make you my slave.
Interesting.
And this kind of unfolds, and then we learn more about the slave boy. His name is Cain. And then we meet Astrid. Now, Astrid plays a huge part in the entire Darkspell series.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally does not come to Isra until about 3/4 of the way through book 1, her Dark Soul.
Okay.
And he initially comes to guide her, to support her. He understands that there's been some issues in her past that has made her go dark. He's not judging her. He's basically there to be her friend, right?
Okay.
And as the book kind of proceeds and the plot with Cain keeps moving forward, Isra basically transforms Astrid into a human. And there's a little bit of romance blossoming between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to give too much away because he plays such a crucial part in the entire series. But we're going to learn more about him when we go to the prequels.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, neat.
So basically what I did, this is basically what I did. I wrote books 1, 2, and 3. So Her Dark Soul, Her Dark Heart, Her Dark Rose, respectively. And then I thought, oh my God, there's so much intense backstory between Isra, Astrid, Everilda, which is her arch nemesis, and Samuel, the Lightbringer. Now, it's the light guys we kind of want to be a little bit cautious with because they are not what they seem either. And I thought there's so much eccentric backstory between these characters. I have to do a prequel. I have to. Plus, there's this huge event in Her Dark Soul. We don't know what the event is. I'm like, we have to go back in time and tell the story of that event. Mm-hmm. So I did Her Dark Love, Kissing Darkness, which is my absolute favorite of the entire series. I don't care what anyone says. That is the best book of all of them. That is the one for me that really ties up all the loose ends.
I love it. Yes.
That one is where you know everything you need to know about our 4 main characters that I've just mentioned. And finally, we have Seducing Darkness, Queen of Darkness. Those are the prequels. And then after Her Dark Rose, we go back to the present day with Darkness Reborn. And that basically wraps up the entire series. So what I'm doing now is I'm working on the spin-off. Ooh. And the spin-off is called Wickedly Good Souls.
Okay.
So initially it starts off with Isra's grandmother. We're going way deeper than that. So it's still going to be villain point of view.
Yes.
But it's actually going a little bit deeper than what the Dark Spell series went. So we are going to see, more of these characters, kind of witches, warlocks, but it's probably going to make the Dark Spell series look tame in some parts.
I love that.
But today, because I'm halfway through writing book 2 of the spin-off, I have realized that the ending of this book is going to tie in perfectly with the Dark Spell series.
Oh, I love when that happens. That's amazing.
Yes.
So let me ask. I was going to say, let me ask you, for readers who've never had a chance to read any of your work, do you recommend them to read in the publication order, or start with the prequels and jump into then book one?
Actually, because I have been very clever when I published all of them. We have a reading order.
Yay! I love that.
That is in the ebooks, it's in the paperbacks, it's in the hardbacks. So the reading order is Her Dark Love, which is conveniently the book I'm holding. I think because I was recording a TikTok with this like an hour ago or something.
Yes. Well,
Hissing Darkness, Seducing Darkness, Queen of Darkness, and then we go on to Her Dark Soul, Her Dark Heart, Her Dark Rose, Darkness Reborn. Now, they are on Kindle Unlimited.
Okay,
so people can binge the entire series if they so decide. It's also the first 5 hardbacks are with Ingram Spark, so they're in a lot of retailers like Barnes and Noble, Waterstones. I do need to submit the final 3 on Ingram Spark. I just haven't got around to it. And the paperbacks are on Amazon. But most people actually prefer the ebooks anyway these days.
That's what I found too at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I like physical books. I love physical books, but there are so many people who like ebooks, and that's fair.
With my chronic pain, holding a book like this for a long period of time is something I cannot do anymore. It's okay if I'm holding it to make a TikTok, that is no problem whatsoever. But if I'm like actively reading for like, you know, maybe more than 20 minutes, my hands are probably going to hurt afterwards. So I physically cannot hold physical books anymore. So what I do in replace of it, which is actually pretty genius because I can read other authors' work that I interact with on social media and so forth, is I have a KU membership myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I can actually explore both sides of the coin. My books are on there, and I'm reading books on there.
Yeah, KU is a wonderful thing for anybody who is interested in joining. Yeah. I mean, it's such a neat service. I have not, again, since I, at the moment, prefer the physical print, haven't ventured myself into that, but I know so many people who just enjoy it thoroughly, and so highly recommended. But then again, I am also a KU author, so I do have a bias.
Yeah. There is a bit of controversy with KU at the moment. So basically, if you're an Android user, which I am an Android user, the new update means that if you want to purchase books, now I'm not sure if this affects borrowing KU books, because obviously KU is a library sort of thing, more or less.
Yeah, more or less.
But basically, if you want to purchase books, you have to do it on a mobile web browser separate from the Kindle Unlimited app, which doesn't make a lot of sense. They may as well just keep it all in the app, but you know, technology, whatever.
When did that happen? I'm unaware of this.
It was literally announced. I saw a bunch of social media posts last night talking about it, so and I also got the email myself confirming it. So
wow,
it's basically a bit of an inconvenient update. I personally, being an Android user myself, I pretty much do everything in the apps. So, but I don't know if it's going to affect how you can borrow books in the KU app. Obviously, you know, there's only one way to find out. So.
Yeah, that's true. But curious to hear what people think about all this, because that sounds frustrating. Yeah, step backwards almost. But.
Yeah. Hopefully, because at the moment, when you want to borrow a book in KU on the app, you just click on the book, you search it, you know, you search it in the search box, if it's, for example, one that comes up suggested Kindle Unlimited books to read, you would click on it. And then it's basically an orange button that says read for free as part of your membership.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you haven't borrowed more than 20 books, because I believe 20 books is the limit,
Okay.
then it should automatically download into your library without any problems. And that's basically how KU works. But obviously with this new app update, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah. For those Android
Because,
users out there, which I am among them. But
yeah.
So I noticed on your,
Um,
because I was, like I said, looking at your links page and everything, and just, trying to get to know you as an author. I did see that you noted that you are an Amazon #1 bestseller. So congratulations
mhm.
for that little tag. Those are
I've
always
had the
fun to
Amazon
try to
number
achieve.
one bestseller 6 times.
Nice. So
Yeah.
let me ask you, how do you as an author go about releases? Do you just, announce it on your social media? Are you a person who runs ads? What do you do as an author for
So
other people who are
I
interested?
kind of do a combination of things. If it's a new release, I like to stir up interest about 6 months before.
Yes, okay.
I will book stacked promos for the release day, and I will do this at least 1 or 2 months in advance just to make sure you get that date.
Mhm.
Um, if it's a pre-order, again, it's got to be 6 months in advance so that you can stir up enough interest. With my most recent paranormal romance, I was planning it in November.
Nice.
And
Wow.
it literally dropped on the 11th of May. Um, so it's, for me, I think it's definitely doing things in advance. Running ads, yes. The only thing I would err on the side of caution of
Mhm.
is a lot of these book marketing companies, you kind of have to do your research. I don't know if you're aware of like all the Facebook author groups and how they're littered with spammers and
Yes,
bots.
they are. They are definitely that.
They're also littered with something else. And, I might be offending some feelings when I say this, but Fiverr digital marketers.
Mhm.
Um, these are people that basically, if you hire them for digital marketing services, your book will end up spammed in Facebook groups, and your competition, they are full of authors. So it's, you're not really targeting readers. I've been saying to people for weeks and weeks, if you're not on Book Talk, what are you doing?
Yes, I found that out. I was very reluctant to join, but ever since I
Yeah,
did, I was like kicking myself and wondering why I wasn't on sooner. Because this is a
yeah,
great platform. This is a platform where you can reach both readers and learn from other authors, and it's great all around, I think.
yeah. Because you can, if you're distributing ARC copies, you can
Hmm.
spread the word about it on Book Talk. Now, I don't know if any authors have experienced the same issues, but Facebook for authors now is kind of a bit meh.
It's hit or miss,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
It's definitely
yeah.
hit or miss.
Um, if it wasn't for my reader group, I probably wouldn't be on Facebook. It's kind of a waste of time. um, I actually got a Facebook ban for making a joke in my own reader group
Hmm. Hmm.
involving a celebrity, and there was literally one word of that joke that Facebook didn't like, and that was the end of that. I was banned for 48 hours from participating in my own group and in other groups. I couldn't post anything on my personal Facebook wall, and my posts have been lowered in the feed for the past 30 days.
Yeah, it's always like every platform, and that's the thing to be aware of. Every platform has those trigger words or things that if they catch
Yeah,
you, they will, try to suppress you because they're not happy with you. And sometimes it could be
Yeah.
actions. Like I know on Facebook, there are people, well, there are times I've heard that people, are trying to invite a lot of people maybe into their group and get triggered for spamming. And then, they're locked out for so many hours or so many days or whatever it is. But it's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to work a business, but you have to understand everyone has their own rules and it's their platform. And so you just have to either,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know people that have literally had 10 plus Facebook violations.
Mm-hmm.
And I've literally only just had my first one in the past month for making a joke.
Yeah.
For literally making a joke.
And it's
I
harder,
won't
sorry, yes.
I shall not repeat it on here just in case TT decides to take similar offence, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
literally a joke in
I
my own reader group.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I know some people, especially depending on your genres, have to be careful what you post, especially the very spicy talk, spicy writers on
I
other platforms
had
have to be cautious because certain things, might offend and, even if it's in your own readers group, you can get tagged. I'm not a spicy writer. I write epic fantasy. But yeah.
I just released a spicy witch vampire PNR, and there was literally one word that TT did not like, and I got a community guidelines.
Yep. See, it's one of those. Yeah, you have to be
Yeah.
cautious. And I'm trying to train myself since I write dark fantasy. Certain words, I'm not going to say them, but are kind of those trigger words because they're dark
Yeah.
fantasy. And so I'm trying to figure out how to express what my stuff's about in a way that you know works within means
Yeah.
of all the guidelines. But yeah, it can be tough,
Yeah.
especially depending on what you write.
There is actually a list of trigger words that I found on Facebook, and I posted it in my Discord group under the label Book Talk.
Hmm.
Um, so that is potentially useful, but it's basically, the main trigger words that we would think.
Hmm.
And then there's a few on there that people wouldn't think were trigger words.
Yeah, that's the thing is like each platform, and
Mm.
I know with TikTok, they'll sometimes when they change things, they'll put a little announcement and send it to creators. And if you're paying attention, you can go and read that epically long statement of all their adjustments. But sometimes you might miss something because they do send them, or you may not care to look at everyone because sometimes a lot of their information they send to you doesn't pertain to you, but it's
Mm.
there, and they're always adjusting things, so something to be aware of. But okay, so I'm curious because writing epic fantasy, all my books are set in worlds that are not Earth, essentially. Your
Okay.
books are yours urban? Are they on Earth? Are they entirely new worlds? What? Tell me a little bit about that.
They are worlds that I've created. There
Yeah.
are about 8 to 10 different locations in the Darkspell series.
Nice. Okay, that is really neat. I
Yeah.
love reading about new worlds. Reading
Um,
is an
we
escape for me.
have we have to kind of break it down. We've got the magical realm that Isra and Astrid live in. That's called Shambra Fell. So Shambre Fell.
Hmm.
And that's basically the grey tower that Isra lives in. It's surrounded by a body of water. So there's like a stream that kind of guards Shambra Fell. And that goes on for like a mile or so away from the tower. So it doesn't just guard her tower, it kind of, is placed around it as well. Then we've got the Lightbringers location, which is called Spiricity. We've got Wingdom's Academy, which, funny enough, is situated directly next door to the Light realm.
Okay. Okay.
And that's actually where the school is where young Isra and Everilda go
Okay.
in the prequels. So don't forget
Hmm.
that we have like two different timelines going on. So we've got the timeline that originates in the prequels when they were young, and then we've got the present day, which is where the events already happened, and it kind of spans on from there. So we have quite a significant time jump of about 15, 16 years, give or take.
Yeah.
And so in the time jump, we have the Wingdoms Academy, which is basically the witchcraft school. Don't go thinking this is Harry Potter. Because definitely not. Definitely not suitable for audiences that like Harry Potter. Because we do.
This is for an older reading group.
Yeah. Some people have actually said, so some readers that have actually read it have said that it could be considered for young adult, but we deal with themes like, obviously, going to the dark side is pretty a dark theme. Yeah. Hence the title, Her Dark Love.
So do you categorize yours as new adult or adult then? What would you say?
I would say adult, to be on the safe side.
Okay.
I mean, some readers have said it is suitable for young adult, but that's not really for me to say.
Yeah.
You know, everyone is going to have different opinions, and if they come out and say that, I'm going to respect their opinions. And you know, so then we have got a demon dimension.
Ooh, I love demon dimensions.
And the demon dimension is called Ravenheart.
Oh, okay.
And that kind of makes an appearance in Seducing Darkness, Queen of Darkness, and it's going to rear its head again in the spin-off.
I love that. So, do you keep like separate notes on descriptions of your separate realms? Because I know I have a series that has a multiverse, I have a series that has 9 realms, and so I didn't know how you organize all that. Definitely, okay.
I have got a piece of paper somewhere.
Somewhere, okay.
Somewhere in one of my notebooks where all the locations are listed and it tells you which characters come from where, somewhere around this bungalow.
I get it.
Don't know where it is, but there's also a copy of it on my computer as well. So
okay, that's good.
I
always have backups.
I'm fairly organized to the point that I've recently drawn up a character list, and the character list contains all of the characters. It contains what books they appear in, more importantly, which is pretty specific in itself. So, for example, Astrid is in all 8 books, Isra is in all 8 books. So, therefore, they have next to their character name DS 128. But then there's others that only make an appearance in Her Dark Rose or Her Dark Love. And so basically, next to their character name, I've got what realm they're from, what books they appear in, whether they are existing or not existing. I can't say the word because otherwise it might trigger something.
Yes, I understand.
So basically, if they are not around anymore or not. And that. So I've pretty much got all the information on a hard copy. On a digital copy as well as a hard copy. So even if I don't know where the hard copy is, it doesn't matter because all the information is already noted down anyway. Most of it has been pulled back from memory, but there are times where I will literally read through my own work to find out what I did with a certain location, or whether there was a certain, like, somebody's coloured eyes, for example.
Yes.
I don't want to say that somebody's got green eyes in one book and then find that it changes in another. So sometimes I've had to go
back. Those are terrible moments when you realize there's been an error somewhere and you're like, how did that happen? When did that happen?
which is why, as I'm going along, if I'm unsure of something like that, I will literally read through one of the previous ones, search in the keywords eyes. I know it sounds really silly because I don't have Word. I use openoffice.org.
Okay. Yeah.
Because most laptop computers that you buy now do not come with Word as a package. You supposedly have to pay £300-400 a year to subscribe to it, and I don't like Word anyway. So why would I pay to use something I don't even like?
Fair.
It's a no-brainer. The thing I like about openoffice.org, it's simplified. There's no busy menus. There's only two things that I want to be looking for when I'm using openoffice.org, and one of them is the word count thing, where you can note down how many words you've done in a certain set amount of text.
Yes.
And the other thing, which I've just mentioned, is the find tool, to find a word somewhere to, for example, find out what color somebody's eyes might be.
Yes. Yes.
So that they actually end up with the same color eyes throughout the series.
I've been challenging myself recently to create a kind of a spreadsheet on all my characters, and going forward, try to detail those things like the eye color, the hair color, their age, where they're from, do they have quirks, etc., so on. And same thing with realms or worlds or areas, just because you have to go back and refresh yourself as an author, especially when you're writing, as you have a 8-book series. That's a lot to remember what happened in book 1 and what things look like.
Well, book 1 in the spin-off was literally finished in April. Oh. So I'm actually halfway book 2 of the spin-off now.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like the series is done. That's all done and dusted. I've got the PNR, which is a standalone. It's also a standalone in a series. So when I say a standalone in a series, there's going to be more witch, vampire type paranormal stories, but they probably won't be interrelated.
Okay, that works.
So I'm going to be doing something slightly different with that once I wrap up the spin-off.
Nice.
Whenever that will be.
So how big what's your word count, or how big are your books on average?
It depends. So her Dark Soul was 50,000 words.
Okay. Yeah.
Her Dark Heart was roughly about the same, give or take 2,000 or 3,000 more. And then her Dark Rose, they started getting bigger. That was about 65 to 70,000 words. Kissing Darkness, which was book 5 in the series, that was about 80,000 words.
Wow. Yeah. I can see the growth right there.
Yeah, but Seducing Darkness, which was book 6 in the series, was literally only 69,000 words. So it literally varies. I mean, I don't force myself to end it at a certain word count. I allow it to go where it needs to go.
Yeah, I love the stories like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Darkness Reborn was nearly 100,000 words. And that's the book that wraps up the Darkspell series. That's book 8.
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of, I'm not one of those people that says, okay, it has to end at a certain amount of words. It ends when it's going to end. I don't do things half-assed.
Yes.
I'm very, very intricate with my plots. And like I said, I've just literally came up with a plot today that will link in with the entire Darkspell series.
That is so neat. I love that. That is definitely neat.
So while that has come to me today, I'm going to be spending a little bit of time developing that, making sure that everything's nicely fine-tuned, make sure there's no kinks. And before that kind of comes to be, but I already know how it's going to work because there's 4 characters that I can already link it to, and that's perfect.
That is fantastic. I
So
love that feeling when you all of a sudden realize it and it's just like, oh, it was meant to be.
yeah,
It just worked
yeah,
out.
yeah. This is why I kind of, because I know not everybody likes outlining.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't outline her dark soul, and I didn't really outline her dark hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, pretty much until halfway through, because I didn't know where either one of those books was going.
Yeah.
But towards the end of her dark heart, I was outlining, and it was the end of her dark heart that I knew how her dark rose would begin and how her dark rose would end.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where I started outlining, and the plots got way more intricate and detailed, and that kind of all came about. Because when I wrote her dark soul, I didn't even know it was going to be a book.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
had no
sometimes you
idea.
just start and then you just let it go and see where it ends up.
Yeah, because basically the reason I started her dark soul, I don't know if this is going to be a trigger word, but I was in kind of a emotionally relationship, and I got ghosted
Mm.
by that person. So I had a lot of time to myself. I'd moved to a very secluded area to supposedly be nearer to this person, and then that didn't work out. So I had a lot of time isolated and to myself. And before I knew what was really going on, I started typing this thing on my computer one night, and the rest of it is history.
I love origin stories of
In
stories.
in terms of how it originated into a series,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't plan to do her dark heart either, actually. Um, I ended up first of all going with the Vanity publisher Author House.
Okay.
And, they actually said to me when I signed the book with them, okay, so is it a series? Are you doing any more? And to be honest, at the time, I was like, well, I don't really know, because I honestly did not know. Um, and then I think I got to the summer of 2015, and I was like, do you know what? And then I just randomly started the sequel, not really knowing what I was doing. Um, and it was kind of around this time because I signed up with Author House in March 2015.
Mm-hmm.
That took a little bit of a process because, like, you have all the kind of administrative type stuff. They go through all the details with you. And then it was around May, June that I got assigned to the marketing department. This is where they screwed up.
Uh-oh.
So within a month of my book being around and into the world, they were trying to get me to pay for additional marketing services.
And that's the thing I hear
And
a lot with some of these, yeah, some of these smaller ones.
it might have worked, but they actually screwed up.
Uh-oh.
I sold about 10 books in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And they turned around to me and said, well, you might think that this is a achievement, but we don't think it is. And I was like, hang on a minute, a new author that nobody's ever heard of sells 10 books in 1 week, and you don't think this is very good. And that got my head thinking, because they wanted me to pay an additional equivalent of about £1,000 at the time. It's probably doubled that by now for all these so-called marketing services. And I thought, this really doesn't smell right.
Yeah.
And I actually went away, thought about it, and I came back to them and I said, look, I want to terminate the contract. There was nothing they could do. There was nothing, they had no choice but to accept that I wanted to leave them. And that took about a month to release me from that contract. There was some fine tuning that needed to be done. So during this time, so between September and November of 2015, It had been sent to an editor, a new cover had been done between then, and I didn't go indie with it until around January 2016.
Hmm.
So in actual fact, while I was signed to a Vanity publisher, I was literally with them for less than 4 months.
Yeah, and if anybody's, because I'm going to be sharing this video around,
Yeah.
so if anybody who listens to this and doesn't know what a vanity publisher is, now correct me if I'm wrong, because it's something that I'm familiar but not terribly familiar with, but it's when you go and it's usually smaller print, sometimes limited run, but I have heard that,
It's,
it works. Yes.
there's actually a simpler way to put it. It's
Okay.
basically any publisher that asks you to pay.
Okay, there you go. See,
Yeah.
I know that that's correlated is you
Now,
paying for something
Author
and obviously
House
where.
has about 8 to 10 different aliases as well.
Okay.
They are known as Author House. They are known as Author House UK. They are known as Zalibri. I've probably pronounced that wrong. They are under about 10 different names, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And there are other vanity presses out there. The best advice I can give, if you get a publisher approaching you
Mm-hmm.
and they seem very hopeful to publish your book, but yet there's a money element to it where they want money from you, that is highly likely to be a vanity press.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
best advice you could take is run in the opposite direction.
Okay. Yes. Because I know there are
Now,
some that are smaller.
many, many, many people, unfortunately, because I see it on social media all the
Mm-hmm.
time. Somebody actually mentioned Author House yesterday on social media, and I jumped on the post within seconds. I was like, no, they are a well-known vanity press. Stay away. But unfortunately, sometimes, even on social media, I still see new authors that come out and say, I've just released my book, blah, blah, blah. You go and look on the book on Amazon, and you can clearly see that it's by a vanity press, and you have to kind of explain to them. You might want to check the fine print of your contract because you've signed up with a vanity publisher. And
And I think. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
sometimes they can't handle hearing that.
Yeah.
But it is ultimately the truth, right?
Now, I only think the vanity press concept works personally. Now, other people could correct me, but if you're a person who's writing a book and wants to do a limited run, and then that's it. Then you pay, get
Yeah.
your limited print, and that's it. And you go separate ways. And that's, I think, the only time it really works well. But if you're a person who wants to be a true author, go a different route, is the recommended thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually say avoid it altogether because people that sign up with vanity presses, you're not guaranteed to get paid. You're not, some of them even control
Mm-hmm.
your, what's it called? I'm trying to think of the word.
Contract?
Inventory.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Of
you're under contract for like other books sometimes.
no, I'm trying to think of the word. Do you know when you go on KDP and you get a report of the books sold?
Mm-hmm.
With a vanity press, they normally have access to that and you don't.
Oh, so you can't even see
So
your sales. Mm.
most of them you don't even know what you're selling.
And you have to trust that they're paying you correctly.
Yeah, and that's kind of a grey area in itself. So if
That's fine
anyone's
print.
watching this, and they're kind of on the fence, or they might have been approached by one of these companies, the best thing I can advise you to do is type into Google the name of the company followed by the word complaints. Now, what will probably come up at the top of the list is BBW, and that's Better Business Bureau. It's an American website. It doesn't matter because there's vanity presses that are based in the UK that will show up on there as well. If a vanity press has had complaints, it's nearly always guaranteed to be on that particular website.
That's a really useful website for things.
And you can also ask for opinions on social media. Just kind of be aware that if you do, there's probably going to be some rude comments, people telling you that you're naive, and that's kind of it. Kind of goes with the territory of social media. Some people don't really think before they type. Yeah.
That's true.
But try and ensure that you're not one of these people that has parted with your money and is locked into a contract before you find out what you're getting into. That's basically the gist of it. Because because I was lucky, I was in a contract where they hadn't, because I didn't know there was going to be other books anyway. So it was basically a contract where I could walk away at any time. They weren't expecting me to walk away. So I totally threw them for a loop. And that marketing person is probably, sat there regretting what they did because they said such a simple thing. But my brain just went, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
So they actually ruined it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people would have happily handed over that extra £1,000 after that rude comment was made. Because I literally thought, well, 10 books for a new author, like that's pretty good going.
Yeah, and then, I mean, there are obviously
Nobody,
authors who do better. There are some that do,
yeah,
leave far less, or maybe can't figure out how to make a sale for a while. And that doesn't mean
yeah,
you're a bad author. It just means you're
no,
learning. You need to figure it out, the marketing, et cetera, so on. But yeah, don't judge
exactly.
on that. Yeah.
No, so, them kind of making that commentary, they're the reason I went indie, really. So, you know, full credits to Author House for screwing up. Because who knows? I mean, we might not be here having this conversation if they hadn't have done that.
That's true. That's true. So let me
So,
ask you. Oops, sorry. Let me ask you, since we're getting toward the end of the hour, I'm curious. So what drew you to witches and vampires, since those are your two big, I guess, entities outside of, I don't know what else is in your books, but like, what drew you to that kind of fantasy or,
right. Well, I'm a witch myself, so
oh,
that kind
yeah.
of works.
Mm-hmm.
Vampires, I've pretty much grown up with vampire shows, Buffy and Angel.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Um, anyone that hasn't seen Buffy and Angel, I don't really know where you've been, but
I'm rewatching
you
Angel
can't,
right now. Yeah.
yeah, you can't get any better than Buffy and Angel. I know there's like a couple of movies that have come before Buffy and Angel, but to be honest, I'm not really a fan of them, so I don't rate them that highly. And the most recent one for me, because I deal with a lot of this chronic pain stuff, I have what is called a Fire Stick.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it plugs in the back of my TV. I've got my Amazon Prime on it. I've got my Disney Plus. I've got channels like All 4 and Channel 5, which are free in the UK. And you've got YouTube on there. You've got Netflix. I personally cancelled my Netflix membership in February, but if you have Netflix, your Netflix would be on your Fire Stick as well. And basically, I get through a lot of TV and a lot of movies. So about a year ago, I discovered the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah, I have not watched that one yet, but I've heard a lot.
I'm actually on my fourth rewatch.
I know because I'm from Georgia, they're filmed here a lot, so I remember
Yeah,
that when they were
it's
when they were
actually
filming.
it's actually ended. It ended in
Yeah, yeah, it's been
2018.
a little while.
But Legacies, the spin-off, I believe they're wrapping it up in like a couple of months or something.
Oh, nice.
Um, I'm in the UK, so we don't actually have that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been going for about 4 years,
All
to
right,
my
yeah.
knowledge.
I don't. I'm not
Um,
as familiar with that one as I am with Vampire Diaries. But yeah.
no. It's basically, have you seen the originals?
Again, it's one that it's on my to watch list, but I have not watched it. Yes.
Okay. So if you haven't seen the Vampire Diaries and you haven't seen the originals, it might be a little bit difficult to explain. But basically, Legacies ties in with the Vampire Diaries and the originals,
Okay. Very
but
nice.
it's the second generation.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So we've got the original vampires that start off in season 2 of the Vampire Diaries, and then they ended up getting their own spin-off like 3 years later, which was the originals, obviously. And basically, one of the original vampires, I'm trying not to give too much away as well, has a child. And basically, the Legacies is detailing
What happened?
the young adult child.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Well, good to know
that's what's
because
going
I'll have
on.
to, like I said, I have a lot of things, kind of like you. I do watch a lot of stuff in my
Yeah,
downtime, but as a writer or author, I feel like any kind of stories are, I just like to absorb them.
yeah,
Doesn't matter if it's in a
yeah.
book or on the big screen. But yeah, no, I haven't watched some of those, but
There's
I have
also
a lot of things.
something I discovered in September 2021 that I've watched about 4 times since as well. And
Well,
it's actually supernatural.
oh, there. Oh, yeah, that one has been going on for a long time.
It finished in 2020.
Yeah, I was gonna say just finished, but yeah.
Yeah, so if it hadn't finished in 2020, it wouldn't have come onto a DVD box set because what I actually did is I took a chance and I actually bought the 15 DVD box set, not
Woo.
knowing if I was going to like it. Obviously, like I heard about it years and years ago when it first was around, and obviously this is years before Netflix. This is years before Amazon Prime was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So back then we had to watch things on DVD or we had to
Yep.
watch them on Sky
I
or
remember.
whatever.
Yep.
So, people that just know the streaming services, they wouldn't know how to live back then because they would literally be lost. But then in November of last year, it conveniently dropped onto Amazon Prime. So I was like, oh, don't even have to get my DVDs off the top shelf.
Yep.
So I have the DVD box set, but I've literally only watched it twice because it's been on Amazon Prime
I mean, if it's
since
already there,
November
it's
of
so
last
much
year.
easier to access like that.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But if it ever comes off of Prime, I have it on DVD, so it really doesn't matter.
Okay, let me ask you one last question. What would be one thing that you wish you knew at the beginning of the writing process that you now know? Obviously, we talked about Vanity Press, but is there anything else you would be like,
Yeah.
I wish I knew that, what I knew back then when I knew now? What I know now, what I
I
knew back then?
think
There you go.
I think it would be the concept of if you outline, it's going to flow better. But realistically, I didn't even know it was going to be a book or a series.
Hey,
So
yeah,
I guess that one is kind of neither here nor there, but the outlines is a really, really good thing to
it's a
do.
great tip. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. There are still some people that really don't like outlining, don't want to outlining, but it will save you so much time. And obviously, it will make your book better. So,
And I'm
you
going
know,
to reiterate for everybody that she, along with me, we're both KU authors, so you'll find our books on KU, Amazon, etc., so on. And you said you have
and
written books.
they can also go, they can also type the Dark Spell series in the search box and they can
Mhm.
literally go through the entire series. So,
Yep, and I'm going to make sure I tag all your social media because I saw you have a
cool.
lot of them on your link tree after this. when I
Yes.
reshare, so everybody can go and check you out.
All right, brilliant.
Yeah, so thank you so much for meeting with me today. I know it's a little different time change between the
It is,
UK and
yeah,
here,
it is.
but I will let you go and continue to work on your stories since now you know that beautiful new way to connect everything together, and that's exciting.
I'm actually done writing for the day. I
Oh,
finished at
great.
about 2:30, so now I'll probably turn the Vampire Diaries back on.
Hey, go for it. I love that.
Yeah,
Well, thank
yeah.
you again, and I will be in touch.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.